Hello and welcome back to SoundCloud Podcast, the place where we talk about everything related to the music world from the perspective of musicians in this day and age. So, first and foremost, introducing the stunning and brave and it got upset and beautiful Taylor Gamini, who might or might not be saying hello to girls and the boys.
I am saying indeed, this camera seems to be very dark, so I'm just gonna approach.
We have to have the conversation too.
Yeah. How's it going, girls and boys? I'm very glad to be back and it's great to have you here as well. And we have a very interesting topic for conversation today, related to some controversies that have been popping up all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to be introduced to the topic.
Well, things that we're going to be talking about, the super controversial topic of actually using backing tracks, click tracks, and everything that is technologically related or technologically driven in live rock music shows. Mm-hmm. Because for whatever reason, there are plenty of people who are complaining about the concept of using backing tracks to provide an experience live as close as possible to the recording studio version of the music. And I don't see why that's even a problem. So let's begin from there. This whole conversation got started because I watched an episode of Break Ground Down, a good show by the fine people at Premier Guitar, in which they go to different gigs and interview the musicians when they are lucky, the guitar players or bass players for each of the bands performing that day. They talk about, well, they ask him everything related to the gear used for the show. Everything from strings all the way down to the pedals used in the guitar amplifier and stuff, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And I watched one of the newest episodes, and it's they are interviewing the people behind the production for System of a Down. Mm. A band that I don't necessarily speaking happen to like, but I have no issues with them whatsoever. And it drew my attention because the title, or not the title, the thumbnail of the video says that no MIDI, no backing tracks, no click, just analog magic or whatever, something like that. Mm-hmm. Totally making allusion to this particular controversial topic. And I read some of the comments, and I was quite surprised to see that plenty of people had that negative association with the use of backing tracks live. Mm. I don't know why. Well, I have ideas. I might not necessarily speaking be 100% correct, but I have some reasons for to think why people would end up with such claims.
Okay.
So first and foremost, do you use backing tracks?
I happen to use backing tracks, and I happen to even condone the use of backing tracks because I think they can be, on the case of, let's say, smaller acts, mm-hmm. They can be a good asset to try to faithfully represent their music live.
Yes.
Because they might not have the resources to be able to fully flesh out their music on a stage. Because let's say if they are writing music that is expensive in nature, something that would require, let's say, 8 or 9 musicians in order to pull off.
Let alone an orchestra.
If they are running on a budget, which is the case for most independent bands.
Even the big bands have no access to that kind of money, man.
Yeah, so they would have to rely on other pieces of technology in order to get their song across.
Yes.
Their music across.
Now, do you think this is recent? The use of backing tracks in live shows? Of course not, man. So it's kind of ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think that the problem comes from the misunderstanding of backing tracks with playback. Mm. Playback is a completely different thing. Playback, most of you watching have already heard this term being thrown around, particularly on TV, mm-hmm. because playback is something that is you pretend to be playing the instrument when in reality it's just you playing along. Yeah. You're not even playing along. You're pretending to be playing alongside that track that is actually being blasted through the speakers.
Yeah, basically the entirety of the music that you're hearing is pre-recorded, and the performance itself means nothing.
Means nothing. It's totally not even. It's not what you hear is not what you get.
Which is something that I have plenty of issues against, actually. But
there are some justifications for it. Let me explain. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but it comes from the world of TV, because when it comes to broadcasting, there is a latency. For example, right now when we're talking to you, everything we do here is delayed several milliseconds, if not a few seconds.
I
think it's a few seconds. That's why it's kind of difficult to keep up with the comments here while you type them down, mm-hmm. because there is that latency. In order for that to be compensated, they devised the idea of, well, let's pre-record the show, mm-hmm. and then broadcast the audio synchronized with the music, with the music that we pre-recorded before the live show. Mm-hmm. What you used to hear, or at least is, I want to believe it is still the norm, they actually do the whole performance before the show. They record that, and what you hear is actually a live performance, but it's not what you see right now.
Not on the spot.
Oh, it's not on the spot.
Yeah.
I want to believe that that's what they still do. And you now understand why there is a reason for that, for live shows in particular. As
Live
technology,
transmissions, right?
yeah, live broadcasts.
Yeah.
As technology evolved, little by little, there were some devices and some technologies and techniques that allowed for that a line to be blurred to the point of it being kind of a redundancy. Now, it's still done. I want to it's still done, just in case something happens during the broadcast, because the audience doesn't have to know that something went wrong, right?
Yeah.
So the show must go on, as Freddy used to say. But nowadays, you have plenty of acts. For example, do you remember what happened to Jessica Simpson's sister?
Yeah, I heard about it, yeah.
It was terrible. It was, I think, in one of those night shows, the late night shows from America. And she was performing, and they simply went out of sync with the backing track. So you could see they even stopped live on live television. So, of course, then the whole mini vanilli situation that people discovered that they were actually faking the entire thing.
Yeah.
That they weren't even the ones singing. Who would have thought, right? So of course it went south, and it became kind of a bad word. Kind of like one of those things that we never talk about in the music business, because it's incorrect, it's heresy.
Yeah.
That's playback. But that's nothing to do with backing tracks. Backing tracks, could you introduce us to the world of backing tracks? What does that stand for?
The world of backing tracks. Look,
it's actually a vast.
It's very vast.
Uncharted.
No, look, I can see why people would draw the correlation, because it relies on a similar principle, which is having something being played
alongside.
Yeah, like a pre-recorded sound being played. The thing is, and there's a very important distinction that needs to be made, a playback, what you see, the performance aspect, what you hear, let's say the singing, the guitar playing, the musicians that you see on stage, they are not necessarily performing what you hear.
Yeah.
When we're talking about backing tracks, we're talking that everybody that you see on stage, everything that you see being performed is actually what you hear, plus the backing tracks, which are tracks, pre-recorded tracks, that back up the main performance of the musicians on stage.
That's when they do it in a morally speaking way.
Yeah,
ethically procured.
On the correct way. Why would you use such a thing? You already made a very common context for it. Let's say you write orchestral music, or not necessarily orchestral music, but music that relies on orchestral sounds.
Yeah, let's say that your song has a particular section in which there is an orchestral arrangement playing.
Yeah.
How can you bring that to a pop?
You won't.
But you wanna deliver the best show possible, right?
Yeah.
So this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And how do you play that? How do you synchronize yourself to a track?
Using a click track.
A click track, which is
a click track. Basically, is a metronome track
recorded
that plays that sets the tempo of the song. Everything that happens within the song, be it backing track or the performances on stage,
will be synchronized to the click track.
Exactly. That way, the performances on stage, the real life musicians that are actually performing, can be synced to the pre-recorded sounds that support their music.
Making the whole performance flawless.
Yeah.
Sounding as the best it can be, with everything that is part of the recording that you fell in love with, but live. How is that problematic? Because let's say you like Rhapsody of Fire. They have plenty of orchestral arrangements across their music. You can either have the keyboard player ignoring the keyboard parts because he's forcing himself to play the freaking orchestral sections on a not necessarily speaking great sounding or proper sounding sound bank, because let's be honest, modern sound banks are very good.
Yeah.
But when they already have a properly recorded orchestra, which is synced to the tempo of the track.
Yeah.
Who will have an issue with that? For real.
It shouldn't even be a thing.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's very important. It's something that is now common. And it's not common, but it's starting to become kind of a standard, even for up-and-coming acts, tiny acts. Why? It's accessible, finally.
Yeah.
Because we have access to technology that allows for the use of in-ear monitoring, at a very affordable price, and synchronization software and hardware that it's also very accessible. That shouldn't be that it allows up and coming acts to have the same level of quality than that Metallica has.
Yeah.
Being frank.
Yeah. And I even think that it's actually it has a very positive impact on music making, the potential of using backing tracks, because from the purest view, this whole notion of backing tracks being evil or being illegitimate,
yes,
means that a musician or a composer, let's talk about a composer, would have to stick only to the instruments that he has access to, or only to the resources that he could be able to bring on stage in order to compose his music.
Yep.
But this kind of technology, this kind of approach actually allows for a way freer process of composition, where you can go beyond the limitations of what you actually have access to.
Yep.
And allow your music to be bigger than simply the instruments that you can fit on a stage.
Totally, man. And it doesn't stop here. Because how about synchronizing to light shows? Of course, they are using the same click track to synchronize the stuff you see on the screens, the light show, the freaking fireworks if they are involved. Everything can be synchronized to the same click track. So everything, when something important happens in the music, in the song, the same is replicated visually speaking. Why would you have a problem with that as a fan?
And the way I look at backing tracks is very similar to the way that I see the use of lighting, for instance, on a concert. Because if you're gonna be a purist, but it's all about what they're playing on stage. So why would they need lights then?
Yes.
Why would they need pyrotechnics?
Yes,
why would they need theatrics?
Yes.
So those are all enhancers for the spectacle, for the show that you're getting out of the band live on stage.
And you already used the correct wording. It's a spectacle. It's a show. It's not just music, because it's part of the whole ordeal.
Yeah.
Music is just one section. Because you wanna go and see Metallica. Why? Because it's Metallica.
Yeah.
They have the Metallica factor, and it's the music, of course, because you fell in love with them because the music is good. At times, generally speaking, it is. It is
for most of their career.
90% of the career is excellent. Yes, but that 10% is enough, man.
Yeah, it's very questionable.
But they know how to push the envelope when it comes to making the live experience even more intense, more fun, and much more engaging, man.
Yes.
And I think this comes from the lack of understanding of what actually a backing track and click track is, because I see that plenty of people have this correlation between or misunderstanding of the backing track when it comes to and the playback.
Yes.
Here we go. I got a comment, Joss saying,
"Hey, Joss,
I think backing tracks is part of the show and business." Totally, man. It is. That's why you like it, man.
Yeah.
We like it because exactly, man. It's been used since forever.
Yeah.
Even when people were using tape, reel-to-reel tape machines. They still use them. They still synchronize to them. I don't know how to do. Well, I know how to do it. They recorded the click track. It's a stereo take, okay? So you get the sound of the backing track on one side, the left, and on the right you're gonna record the metronome, the click, and you're gonna split the signal. The left side is gonna go to the PA, and it's gonna be the one that is gonna be fed to the audience, while the right is gonna be the one used in the monitor mixes. Back in the day, not necessarily speaking in ears, but they had the traditional monitors, stage monitors, and they could hear the click from there. Usually it was only the drummer, because the audience could be quite close to the ones on the guitars and stuff, and they could hear but the drummer is already far enough.
Yeah, and the drummer will be following the click, and the rest of the band will be following the drummer.
Yes. Here, Roman here is saying backing tracks a bit like cheating. Why do you need to have it in your band? Good question. It could be cheating. I give you that. But we already made the case that if you have an orchestral section, let's say you're playing a cover of Yesterday, are you gonna bring a shell player just for that track?
No.
How are you gonna play it correctly? You need the shell, right? Backing track kicks in.
Yeah.
That already gives you. Make sure that you get the next night signed.
Yeah.
You continue doing what you do.
Yeah.
You have another day.
Look, what I draw the line when it comes to
but when it comes to cheating, yeah, he's right as well. Because you can have in the backing track support, and For example, let's say you're a singer.
Yeah.
You're singing 70% of the track, but you have in the backing track the moments in which, and you are quasi playbacking at that point, and you can cheat using this technique.
Yeah.
Totally not ethical, and I have
Yeah.
plenty of issues with that.
Yeah.
Or let's say you're playing a cover from you are a cover band, right? And you're playing covers from Iron Maiden and Thin Lizzy. 2 guitars against only 1 guitar, and sometimes the harmonies are the voices are back in time.
Yeah.
How are you gonna play it?
No, and without that, the song loses 80% of its charm.
And you can use a harmonizer pedal. Yes, the thing is that that particular riff moves from one scale to another within the riff.
So you wouldn't be able to use a pedal for it.
The pedal is programmed to follow to harmonize your guitar playing coming in on a scale.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it, but it involves getting an H9 pedal,
Yeah.
flip. You start to get into very, very, very complex territory.
Yeah.
You can just use the backing track and just having the guitar that you don't have on the stage. Fair enough.
Yeah.
In that case, I don't have issues with the use of backing tracks.
I think, look, when it comes to the objective ways that this thing can be used, it's very circumstantial. But one line that is actually easy for us to draw, because we all have a moral code in our minds.
Allegedly.
We should. Morality. You know when it's wrong and when it's correct. Because if what you're seeing is what you're getting, the performance of the musicians on stage is actually what you're hearing, that's the correct use of backing tracks, even if it's being supported by pre-recorded tracks.
Yes.
But if part of what you're listening to is actually not coming out of the performances, is coming out even from the performance. I'm talking about the instruments that you see there. Let's say the singing is one. A tricky singing part, you're not listening to the singing performance on stage. You're listening to a pre-recorded track. That's wrong. And it's clearly wrong. We don't even need to try to debate on... It's very clearly not something that should be done.
Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed. Because, for example, we use backing tracks whenever we play live, allegedly. We will be doing it soon. So let's use this as anecdotal evidence, okay?
Yeah. Anecdotal hypothetical evidence.
Hypothetical evidence, yes. No, but look, from some of the songs that we play, the vast majority of them were recorded or composed under the auspices of having 3 guitar players on stage at certain points. Ridiculous, I know. But you
can feel the regret.
yeah, I know. Yeah, and given the circumstances of life, we have been forced to only have 1 guitar on stage for the time being. And during those days, we had to develop ways on which we could have a similar experience, but with less musicians on stage. So the way to do it was by being very crafty in selecting which pieces of the music will be part of the backing track and what would be played on stage from the guitar perspective. And this is actually a good technique. This is coming from the orchestral world, okay, and a little bit of music theory. When you are harmonizing an instrument, the one that draws the attention of the audience the most is the voice that has the higher pitch. What are the voices? The different lines, melodic lines that are playing in tandem, but one of them is playing following a particular set of notes, while the other is playing another particular set of notes that both of them happen to work together in accord to harmony. Okay?
Okay.
And if usually one of those voices will be higher in pitch, it's always better, it's not necessarily set in stone, there's a good rule of thumb, to always, if you're gonna follow the route of using backing tracks, play the one that goes live is the higher pitch, because it's the one that draws your attention draws the attention of the audience the most. The same happens with vocals. If you're gonna have choirs supporting your voice for a particular song, let's say a song with a huge choir, I Wanna Know What Love Is by Foreigner. If you don't have the I wanna know at the end, does it feel the same way?
No, it doesn't.
Of course not. And if you're a cover band, you truly need to make sure that whenever you play those bangers, people are happy, because that way you know that you're working next night.
Yeah.
So you get me. There are ways to do it, because the issue is that if you don't have a proper moral compass and you start to see the potential for the backing tracks, you could easily let the backing tracks actually carry the weight of the song.
Yeah, but I think that's even on the approach to the use of backing tracks, because if you're using backing tracks to be able to deliver the full experience that the song is meant to deliver, that's one thing. If you're using backing tracks as a safety net to save your ass if you fail on the performance,
that's a skill issue.
That's a completely different affair, and I have plenty of problems with that.
Yeah, here just saying, well, I see it like effects. He means the backing tracks, like vocals using it to change pitch, that's or doubling guitars, yes, or drums playing under a backbeat, yes. If it takes two guitars for a song, then the band needs two guitar players. I agree, 100%. Talking about me. Yeah, no, but you're right, man. You're right. The example I gave is under the extreme circumstance that happened.
Yeah.
And he just says, yeah, we'll treat a little. Yeah. The thing is that when you are live, man, there are so many things that will go wrong on the stage that you try to play always getting the odds on your favor as much as you can, because many things can go wrong. Yeah. For example, this is a little bit not necessarily on the same boat, but it's related to the whole thing of live music. It's very common nowadays that drummers use triggers on the drum kit for live shows. Yeah. Triggers, for those of you who are not aware or not familiar with the terminology, is basically speaking, you attach a little sensor to all the shells of your drum kit, and those sensors will detect the moment in which you hit the snare, for example, and it's gonna send an electrical signal to a sound bank that will trigger the sound of a pre-recorded snare, and it's gonna be fed to the mixing board, and the mixing engineer will be able to mix both the live snare plus the reinforcement snare. That's a very common trick, and it's also coming from the recording studio world. Yeah. It's something that is now the standard, is the norm, and it's been the standard since freaking Turbo Lover by Judas Priest. So it's nothing new. And it's been used by everybody since then.
And it has been massively adopted now in the most extreme metal genres.
Yes, because you need to have that particular sound in order to produce the sound, particularly in the snare. Yeah. Because blast beats, super fast. You play like almost 32s, right? Depending.
Yeah, depending on how.
But usually 16s.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Yeah.
So you're going super fast on both the snare and the drum and the kick. So just this is how I understood the importance of this. Mechanically speaking, in order for you to produce a loud snare hit,
you need range of motion.
Because this range is what develops the momentum for the hit to produce energy, right?
Yes.
But you're playing super fast notes. This momentum, this leverage created by the motion of your arm also involves time. You won't be able to be that fast and produce the same amount of energy at the same time because mechanics.
Yeah.
So the way
here we respect
the laws of thermodynamics. The thing is that in order for you to produce that super fast repetitive sound, if you remove the sample, it's gonna because there is no energy being developed. So the sample is needed. And if you go to a metal show and they sound like that, like of course they're using samples. The same applies to the kick because way too fast. It's simply speed. Sounds like shitting? Yes, because it is.
Yeah.
But do you have a problem with that?
I have at times. The thing is, once again, is understanding the role that the musician is having in what you're hearing. On the case of extreme metal genres, it's physically impossible to produce the correct sound, let's call it correct sound, at the speeds that they're playing. So that the use of technology like this is what allows that music to even be possible.
Certain genres, yes.
Yeah, so it's not about trying to save the ass of the drummer because he sucks. The drummer is doing exactly what he should, but in order to achieve the expected sound, he needs those enhancers. Yep. I have no issues with that. It's not necessarily a sound that I'm particularly drawn towards. I don't like it, but I can see justification for it.
The thing is that there is a point in which you already jumped the shark.
Yes.
And that's the issue. Here Roman, he's coming back with a good point. He's saying, if the point of a cover band is to sound as close as possible to the original song, that will never happen. Of course. That's where improvisation and redoing it to your own style comes in 100%. You're correct. What we're saying is not replacing that, because again, I think the issue is the whole controversy surrounding backing tracks and click tracks and the use of them in the live setting is mostly semantics. Because he's right. What's the point of having a live cover band if they're just making shitty renditions of the songs you love? I better just play the freaking record, right? The thing is that the use of backing tracks is to enhance what Roman is actually saying as being the selling point of a live band. Yes, it's just that. It's not to replace that. Because just because you are using backing tracks doesn't mean that you're throwing away the whole thing with improvisation and spontaneity.
Yeah, because if I may,
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, because you already made a point for one of the very common misconceptions being the whole notion of playback and backing tracks.
Yes.
Another common misconception is that the use of click tracks or backing tracks makes the whole performance rigid.
Yes.
Like the musician has no freedom to actually exert his musical creativity just because he's playing to backing tracks or a click track.
Yes.
Which is indeed a misconception, because the musician as a performer can have as much freedom as he would in what he's playing, because what he's playing, if he's not playbacking, is still on the spot.
Yep.
It's still his own take. At that moment, what you see on stage is what you get. Yep. And he's still gonna be inspired by the performances of the other musicians on stage. So you still have that reactive, responsive, creative element of on-the-spot music making.
With the added benefit of it being tight.
Yes.
And sharp.
Exactly. And enhanced by perhaps the tracks that you couldn't have been performed live on stage.
Yeah, and here I'm gonna once again take the mixing engineer and music producer role. The use of of click track doesn't come from the studio work, okay? It's actually the way you should practice an instrument. If you truly want to get good at something about music, you truly need to metronome. You gotta learn how to work with a metronome. You gotta learn how to play to it, and also how to use it for practicing and performing. That's been the case since the times of Mozart. Okay, so it's not something new again.
Yeah.
The thing is that the use we got for it nowadays is, and the application and the techniques involved in it, or that involves the use of the click, comes from the modern music recording world. Once again, because in here, the misconception I think comes from the association of playing to the click track to quantizing and fixing everything to the grid. Let me elaborate. In modern music production, we have access to something called quantization, which basically speaking is the computer will analyze the sound coming in, and it's powerful enough to detect the points of interest. Let's say they're transients, okay? It's the transient information, the moment in which the attack of something happens, which is the starting point of a sound. The computer is able to find those moments, and you can use the computer to force those moments to be in accord to the beats that you set the speed of the tempo of the record. So you can actually align everything to perfection to the grid. The grid is the lines that are produced by the notation.
Yeah. And in more mundane terms, basically you can make the tempo of a performance be perfect.
Pitch perfect, because it's
it can be pitch as well.
Yeah. But the thing is that it's more commonly known the use of this kind of technology to correct poor singing. But it's basically auto-tune for drummers. Get me? It's basically that.
So for any performer own tempo.
Yeah. So again, that's morally incorrect.
Yeah.
And I think the misconception when it comes to click, at least, comes from that, because a good musician will play and practice to a metronome, and somebody who is great using a metronome will be able to add a push or pull effect to his performance by being a little ahead or a little behind the transients of the click, giving this groovy, fantastic, yet consistent and professionally sounding performance.
Known as swing.
That's the swing.
Yes.
And every goddamn jazz musician, the freeform guys, great at it.
Yeah.
Because they need to be ultra sharp when it comes to the click. The same happens with orchestral music.
Yeah.
They never play to a metronome. It's forbidden when it comes to the orchestra, because the metronome is the freaking conductor. Yeah. But the conductor every musician has to be incredibly good with the metronome, the click track,
Yeah.
so they can follow
Yeah.
in synchrony, in synchronization. I was speaking Italian. In total and complete synchronization with the conductor.
Yeah, and indeed, and this swing element that you presented, the whole notion of being slightly behind or slightly ahead, it's a very important emotional element to music, because if you're playing slightly ahead, you're gonna give that sense of urgency, you're gonna give that sense of action, and if you're slightly behind, you're gonna feel more laid back. It's gonna feel more perhaps interactive, depending on the context of the song, and the musician that is able to play with that can use that as a musical tool to project those emotions. But in order to play with the metronome, you need to be ultra sharp with the metronome.
Good, man. Yes. And that's the sign of a great performer.
Yeah.
Here Roman is coming back, he's saying, and good point, if I'm paying $100 for a ticket to see Iron Maiden and they use backing tracks for songs, I would feel a bit cheated. Yep, I agree. Because Iron Maiden doesn't need backing tracks.
No.
They have already 3 guitar players.
Yeah.
Plus Bruce, plus everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else. So of course, and the music doesn't use anything that is not there on the stage. Because let's say that you pay the $100 to see Iron Maiden, and it's only Bruce on stage. So the rest is clearly being played by a computer.
Yeah.
That's incorrect. Bruce is the singer.
Yeah.
So that's agree 100%. But let's say you go Devin Townsend. If you don't know of him, that guy is insane.
Yeah.
Fantastic. His music is very good, and his music is massive sounding, stupidly big. If I may recommend an album, go and listen to Epic Cloud. It's, I think, the best showcase of his stuff in the most condensed package.
Yeah.
How do you describe his sound?
It's huge.
Huge, right?
Huge.
Huge to the point of being ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
your assessment, just as an guesstimate,
Yeah.
if you needed to pinpoint or assess how many musicians he would need on stage to make the music sound exactly like the record, how many musicians would it be?
depends on the song.
Think on the most audacious one.
I'm gonna go for let's go for Kingdom, a popular track.
And it's probably his biggest hit.
Just the vocal arrangement alone, insane, man.
Yeah.
He will need at least 8 vocals, backup singers, to pull off the orchestration,
Yeah.
to have the voices that are part of that particular chorus, plus him, and that would be just the core.
Yeah.
Because they're for it to sound like that.
Yeah.
You got those multiplied by 6
Yeah. Plus so many layers of guitar.
layers of guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
But and look, in that case, he would use the choir, but just to enhance the choirs,
Yeah.
because he will have at least two singers
Yeah.
with him. But it's just to push it a little bit bigger. But if he dares to enhance the sound of the guitar by using backing tracks of the guitars with the guitars live, wrong. The thing is that you can see that we can agree that there is a fine line,
Yeah.
because the issue is not the use of backing tracks, is the poor mismanagement and the abuse of the technology
Yeah.
by plenty of acts. I'm looking at several big acts, man, because think of someone who is already, without trying to sound terrible, but past his prime. I don't know, Paul McCartney. I don't think he's capable of singing all the tracks live, man.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have no evidence. I'm not even saying that he totally is faking it. No, of course not. What I'm saying is that he should have some form of help, because the Rolling Stones, man, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
And this is an instance where I don't think it's correct, because if you can't anymore, you simply shouldn't be there.
Yes.
That's the way I see it personally.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
in my book, I see the use of the backing tracks just to cover the stuff that is basically, budgetarily speaking, difficult, or if not impossible to bring to a show.
Not viable.
It's not viable. It's basically that, because everything is possible. The thing is that this is a business as well, and you want to provide the closest or the best experience to the audience, and that is that balancing act. Because I can agree with everything being said here, and all of the comments against the use of backing tracks are legit, because it kind of breaks the illusion then.
Yeah.
Because it does, if they are done incorrectly.
Yeah.
The thing is that also from the performer and the musician perspective, the artist perspective, you kind of feel that you disappoint as well if it's not delivering what they know
Yeah.
the sound of the song should be.
I think that-
It's that fine line, man.
I think it comes out of the understanding that the musicians and the performer need to understand what makes a show. What makes a show, in part, is the expectations of the audience being met when it comes to the songs, and in another part is you, as the musician, delivering a real performance on stage, something that is true to the original, but that is unique as well.
Yeah,
So you need to deliver both.
because there is this particular situation. I don't know who said it exactly, because it was related to the, I don't know, I think it was about the Grateful Dead or something. A band that is renowned for never playing the same tracks.
It's a jam band,
No,
basically.
it was Atlanta Rhythm Section, great band, and it was a conversation about how good they are live, scary good, to the point of it being almost like they sound like the record, man. And it was kind of a controversy because. So what was the point?
It's way too close to the
Way
record.
too close to the record. Yeah. But years later, I had a conversation with another guy, and we were talking about Madonna, because the guy happened to like her stuff and shit, and he was thinking of going to one of her concerts. But the thing is that he was concerned because he heard rumors that she was playing incredibly crazy versions of her hits. I'm like, what's the point of going to a Madonna concert if she's not gonna play the songs that I like? And whenever she plays them, they're gonna be all fucked up. Good point as well.
Is the balance
Is
in
that
the
balance?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I can agree on both ends.
Yeah.
There is, Roman mentioned it before, a good chunk of what you go to a live show is to see the performative aspect, the improvisation, the wild cards happening, the inspiration that comes from being in front of an audience performing and the artist, doing the artist thing, which is creating on the spot. Is that tricky balance, man? Here, Jazz is saying, Jump Petrucci, 2 quotes. It depends. Some don't tour with their whole bands. If they are up there playing their asses off, and they have sound effects backing that up, that doesn't really bother me. I feel the same way. Because there are things that doesn't get in the way. And there are things that are legit. But there are things that are clearly cheating. And we have given some examples. Because in mind, think of someone like, I don't know, Peter Gabriel-like style of music. Layered. Incredibly layered. The stuff that is clearly only possible thanks to the miracle of the recording studio.
Yeah, because there's way too much going on.
There are moments when we're like, nah, this is just insane. Let's say a drum machine, incredibly complex percussion pattern that was totally created on the spot in the studio, that is just playing the support role for the actual drumming. And it was actually performed and recorded on the spot while tracking, while cutting that particular take. It cannot be replicated again.
No, impossible.
Another act, Pink Floyd, On the Run. It's always the same. Why? Because once recorded, they couldn't pull it off again the same way. Because the synthesizers, clearly analog synthesizers, everything you do on them will never come back. So how can you deliver that? Well, press play. Light show. Distract them.
Look, there's another factor that we haven't brought to the conversation yet, which is even the socioeconomic factors.
You're right.
No, for real, because think that as a composer, as a writer, as a producer, you don't need to necessarily be constrained to your own position in the industry. Let's say you're up and coming, in order to write your music, because who's gonna have the budget to have a full orchestra, 3 keyboard players, 8 backup singers, blah, 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 on stage, only the gigantic acts. But who can write music that relies on that? Well,
the talented
people. And those talented people wouldn't necessarily need to be constrained by the lacks of their circumstances in order to write their music. And I think that's probably one of the biggest factors that I have, or at least the way I see it, pro use of backing tracks, because it makes music unhindered at the more independent echelons and the more up and coming echelons.
Kind of equalizes the playing field.
Exactly.
On the live show.
Huh?
When it comes to the live show.
Exactly. But the thing is, if there was no way to perform that music live, probably you wouldn't do it in the studio.
Yeah.
So it is.
Once again, the balancing act, because okay, so you are telling me that you can produce that live, but can you on this in the studio? Everybody can do wonders in the studio.
Yeah.
Can you do it live? I need so, and here's a good point. When producing music, you get and that's always something that happens in my head. I always do it under the auspices of me being able to pull it off live without relying on tricks and efforty, because exactly you have that kind of moral aspect to the live performance, and besides the controversies that comes along, because see how much this conversation has evolved in the last few minutes. It's difficult to define that morality, that moral line. Here, just another quote. He's saying, according to Blackie Lawless, "I want the thing to sound as good as it can, and if you want the sound like those records, you gotta have some help." Yeah, some help is not playing the whole thing back to you. For example, Pink Floyd again. Think of what is the name of the track? Money. Play the intro. How? And don't tell me that the intro is not important.
It sets the entire context for the song.
How do you do that on the stage? And you play then the rest, of course. Or if the other track, that album has plenty of sound bites. Us and Them has moments in which there is spoken word. The moment, the introduction. It's not that you can just pick up the microphone and say it. It's not the voice itself. It's the ambience. So what you could do, you can have the band playing the backing music and just have synchronized to the tempo, and just have those backing vocals with the effect kicking in, like in the record, but live. So
He's delivering the full experience.
The audience is, this is good, man. Because I feel the connection that I have with the record is being presented to me, but it's being done live, and it's being done by this cover band that is actually killing it, because they're doing their part. Roman here saying, I don't expect it to sound like the record, because live, yes. No, that's exactly the point.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because otherwise, I just play a freaking record.
At the comfort of my bedroom.
And it's way cheaper. And usually with way better sound quality, man. Because live shows, they're dependent on where you're standing, man. Because paying for the top ticket, not necessarily speaking, gives you the best
position for audio.
Usually never is. Top trick, pro tip: always before buying your ticket, take a look at the venue and
mixing booth.
Find the mixing booth and buy the ticket as close as possible to mixing booth as possible, because the entire show is mixed from that perspective.
It's going to be the best sounding spot in the room.
In the entire room, regardless of the quality of the venue. Okay. So pro tip. Now here continue with what Roman is saying. It gives a different vibe when it comes to not playing a slightly different version of the track. Gives a different vibe at the least. It makes you come up with something different to compensate for the lack of effects. That's also a good point. That's actually a good point. Clever bands find ways to compensate for, and that's once again the balancing act. An ethical band will minimize the use of backing tracks to only the stuff that cannot be done, procured, or produced on the stage with a given instrument. For example, we got a track that involves mellotrons, synthesizers, and stuff in one particular tricky section, because it's giving the foundation, harmonic foundation for the drums to shine. It's basically a glorified, the song is a glorified drum solo, being frank. And the easy route would be, during that moment in which the guitars are basically out of the equation, to let the backing track take over and the drums do the drum solo. But we don't do it like that. Why?
Because it's wrong.
It's wrong. It's morally wrong. I got a guitar. I got good gear. Let me find a way to get close to the emotional impact of the section, not to replicate it. I'm not playing a mellotron.
Yeah.
Clearly not. But I can use my effects, my guitars, my slide, my everything to create the ambience.
Something
and
close to it at an emotional level.
At an emotional level.
Yeah.
Because that way you provide the difference that is needed for the show to be special.
And the performance element.
The performance element,
Yes.
but it's still to the sound that they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's very tricky because all of the negative aspects of the use of backing tracks, I agree. I can see your positioning.
Yeah.
Because it's actually very easy for people to fool you, and just think, maybe it's because we've been on this side of the whole live music game for so long.
Yeah.
But I now see why somebody could feel like they got ripped off, because if they detect, wait a second,
Yeah.
that was a backing track.
Yeah.
What makes me think that the rest is not?
That's why a good chunk of the discussion actually is breaching the moral ground. Because it is once again the whole notion of a tool. Backing tracks are tools in the music industry. They're powerful tools, and they can be used correctly, and they can be very poorly used as well.
Look, here's a good example of what not to do. Because here Roman is saying Tommy Lee uses a backing drum track on his drum solo, and it sounds bad. I hate it. Exactly. That's wrong, man.
Yeah.
That's we're on your side on the clearly, man.
Yeah.
Because I also hate that. That's the truest definition of cheating on the audience.
Look, you know how I synthesize this in my head? See the musician, from the perspective of the musician, I'm thinking, okay, this issue in the music, there's this sound that I want to be represented to the audience.
Yes.
Can I achieve that sound from doing something better? Can I improve myself, improve my rig, improve my whatever in order to achieve that or not? If the answer is no, maybe that's grounds for backing tracks.
Yes.
If the answer is yes, then get good.
if it's not working, it's a skill issue.
Yeah.
Clearly, yeah, the solution is very easy. Just get good.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree, because harkening back to my teenage years, when I got quite into live music, because back in the day I already was trying to do some form of recording, but of course technology and also budget didn't allow for me to have some form of equipment to record properly, right? So I focused my attention on the whole live game. And those limitations actually allowed me probably to develop a proper moral understanding of when and how little is acceptable for backing tracks. Because, and probably we can relate in this one, all of us having this discussion. When you don't have access to anything, but you need to play something that sounds good, you become creative. And you force yourself to find ways to do wherever is needed, not to replicate, because you find that, let's say, you're playing covers, okay? And that freaking song by Audioslave, like Stone. I don't have a whammy pedal. The how can I do it?
It's integral.
Integral. If I don't do it, fail. So find a way to fake it. Maybe you have a whammy bar, so find a technique that kind of mimics the sound, or you can do it with the singer. Actually, singer could be playing the high note, do a trick. That's creativity, right? No backing track. And then by doing that kind of effort, you realize, for a second, that was fun. And the audience reacted correctly. Why? Because you put the effort. You tried. And actually, why you try? Because you want to deliver something good for them. And people can see that, and they're like, that's
respect.
That's respect to the audience. So those kind of tricks, out of limitation, help you to become a better musician.
100%.
And I can see why these negative connotation that, in all fairness, has been attached to the use of backing tracks has a good support for it.
Yeah, there's reasoning behind it.
There is a reasoning behind it. It's not just hate for hate's sake. Because it's easy for someone to how can we do it? I just play a backing track. because it's easy, it's lazy and cheap, and that's not the point. And what pushes more, I want to believe, a good chunk of us into the whole thing with music is not just the records. It's actually the performance.
Oh yeah.
It's seeing Eddie Van Halen kicking Mayer the rear
on
stage and be like, I want to be that guy. That's cool. I want to be that guy. It's that inspiring moment of power, man, that only comes from manhandling the stage.
Yeah.
Clearly. Roman, sorry, I got lost. I'm gonna come back to I'm gonna address the comments here. First, just saying, the only one that needs backing track is Vince Neil. He can't sing anymore. Yeah. And needs all the help he can get. Actually, he needs to retire. Yeah, man. And that's why I made the comment. I didn't necessarily speaking. I don't know if Paul McCartney was the first to come to mind because of how old he is. Man. The same could be said about the Rolling Stones. Maybe they don't use them. Yeah. Probably they don't. But Vince Neil, yeah, it's kind of sad. And yeah. And here, Roman is doubling down now. Yeah, Vince can't sing no more. Yeah. You know why? Poor bad choices. Bad decisions. And not taking care of his voice. Yeah. Not necessarily the best technique. Blah, blah, blah. And the thing is that when you're younger, as a singer now, speaking, when you're a kid and you're singing, you just force yourself because you use brute force to go through the songs. Then you keep going. 3 years later, you start to have issues because the technique is non-existent. And now you're starting to actually feel the effects of your poor, if not non-existent technique, actually ruining your voice. 5 years later, you're actually having problems. Yeah. Not just with your singing, with your spoken word. Totally not me. And that's when you finally listen to your mom and you finally said, take lessons. And when you take those lessons, you realize how stupid you are. And you were, because you're still are stupid bad. Yeah.
Trying to lessen
trying to lessen the blow. Yeah, and then you realize that if only I did it earlier, it would have been easier. It would have been. I would have avoided several moments of defeat in front of the audience. Blah blah blah. You would have saved so many moments in your life. But whatever. I think that many of those guys, they reached the success they got without having proper technique. But their careers kept going. The stress plus the demands of the audience and the labels and stuff, and the harshness of the road started to take a toll on them. Yeah. But the show must go on. There is this technique known as backing tracks. How could they know? You see my point? Yeah. And that truly is annoying, because once you know the tricks and you start to remember certain shows you went to, oh shit, maybe they did it. Maybe. Yeah. But you don't know because now it's based on your memories, man. Yeah. But yeah, it's the tricky part.
Well, look, even the whole notion of the show must go on, I think there's a line that needs to be drawn. The show must go on for as long as you can deliver the show.
But if you can't, has to go on, make sure that you can keep up with the show.
No, but that's what I mean. If you can't, then that means that the show has ended. Yeah. And things end.
The thing is that, dude, it's easy to say it right now because we're not there yet. But it gotta be tough.
No, I'm not saying that it's not tough. I'm saying that it's correct. Yeah. Because we have to accept that time passes, things begin, things end, everything ends.
And look, here Roman is coming is adding to the whole thing with the poor vocal or care. He's saying that with all that money they make, they would think they get professional vocal trainers to save their voices. 100%. That's what makes their whole. Oh look, he is no longer capable of singing. That's sad. That sad my ass. There is no reason for you to destroy your voice. Naturally speaking, your voice will not deteriorate. It will become. How can they? In this whole singing world, they say that it becomes a little bit thicker, and usually you start to develop a much more lower register the older you get. Yeah. It takes the entirety of your lifetime. Okay. for example, I saw yesterday a clip of Steve Lukather kicking as they were playing with Toto. They were playing Hold the Line. But being the Toto fan that I am, that's half step down. How they're well, no, man, they're almost 80. So, and they're singing. I mean, it's, okay,
Yeah.
I get it. And the singer in me, no, it's playing safe. It's not that the guy cannot do it anymore. The thing is that you have to keep in mind that performance doesn't stop with one track. It's the entire night.
Yeah.
And this being Hold the Line, clearly or not clearly, but I think it was an encore. Because it's one of those songs. It's one of the songs. So we're talking about a guy who 70-ish, singing at that level for at least 2 hours straight. And you're bitching about them just
half stepping down.
Just half step. Great voice, great everything. Stop.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And here Roman here keeps saying, I don't know, it's the same vocal, it's the same take. Yeah, but you see, is the whole, as a singer, what makes me angry when I see that or have my suspicion of somebody using backing tracks is the way that you realize that they are doing it because he's unable to sing it anymore. And when you know that you don't lose your voice out of nothing, it's actually your responsibility. Like, oh shit, that's not good.
Yeah,
because it destroys the whole notion, the whole idea of it takes them down off the pedestal.
Yeah. It breaks a little bit the illusion.
It totally breaks it. I
think just
you're saying when you're young, strong, and dumb. Actually, great way to describe it. It comes easy to scream every night to the mic, and after the years kick in, the damage is done. And you know what's the worst part? It can't be fixed. Yeah, all of the things you do to your voice throughout your youth cannot be fixed. They stick with it, and if you didn't get to the point of developing vocal nodules, which is it's the worst that can happen to you. Because from what I understand is in mind that you develop kind of like knots on your vocal cords. So of course they swell.
Yeah.
They are only removed through surgical methods, man. They are cutting your vocal cords.
Yeah.
To fix them. Do you truly they're gonna be all right? No, you actually if that happens to you, you're basically done. Yeah. There are ways to fix them through treatment and therapy and stuff. And I only know of it because at one point in my life I was concerned that I was developing them. I wasn't. Thank God. It was just exhaustion. I was tired. I needed to rest, and also because I happen to be quite fond of fighting, so I had my nose a little bit sideways, and my breathing was incorrect, and I didn't realize it. I didn't pick up a fight. I was into martial arts, okay? And
it was a bar brawl.
It totally wasn't at a bar having a discussion like this one. No, and that terrible experience. I was quite afraid because I truly thought that I lost my voice, and I was quite young, man. I was like 25, man. Like, dude, I lost it forever. I haven't even released my first record. I'm done. And
before it began.
Yeah, like damn. Basically, I took an hour to the knee. Thankfully, it wasn't that big of a deal. I had to get my nose fixed because the issue was my poor breathing. So whatever. Here, Roman here's Roman here's saying popular bands will replace with a vocalist that sounds like their albums. Yeah, the singers for Journey sounds just like super. Yeah, that Philippine guy.
Yeah, it's uncannily similar.
Arnel is his name.
Yeah,
incredibly.
It's insanely similar.
It's way too similar. Man.
Yeah,
scary, right?
Yeah.
Damn, but even him being this natural raw talent, they don't do backing tracks. I can tell you that. I have seen them live. Impressive, huge Journey fans, so take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. But no, they're really good live, and the singing, you know that they're singing live because you can hear them making mistakes. And that's part of the charm.
It's part of the live
because
game
as a musician, you go there and you see them pulling off the stunt. And since you're a musician, you know how tough it is to do what you see them doing.
Yeah.
And those moments of a slight roughness just confirms that Damn. They are doing it live. That song, As the Lonely, when they go, when you're feeling, and the whole band sings together, everybody's in tune, perfect tune, like, damn, no backing track. That would be sinful.
Yeah.
To use backing tracks in that moment, because let's say you're playing America or freaking what's the name of these guys? That little known band, Eagles.
I think I heard them.
Yeah, those guys. If you don't pull off the vocal harmonies with the band, you shouldn't be playing Eagles.
Yeah.
Simple as that. A good case for not to use the goddamn backing tracks. It would be unethical.
Yeah.
And
once again, it's the moral line that is a little bit, is kind of on the abstract side, but we know. And
the musicians in the audience were like, damn, that was bad. That was poor, man. That was shitty, man. But this sort of song, I think, is quite right. Bam, bam, bam. Come on, man.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Please remind me, guys, because I know the song, but I can't remember the name. It's super famous. It's a super popular track.
Yeah, don't think. Can you address comment just so it doesn't get buried?
Oh yeah. Okay, Roma here he keeps going. He's saying, when it comes to replacing a guitar player, drummer, or a bassist, anyone will do it. But the singer has to sound like the original singer. Agreed, man. It's a tough decision to do. To make, because think of the guy who replaced Laney Stanley with Alice in Chains.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Duval, I think.
James Duval?
I think it's Duval.
Yeah, well, fantastic singer.
Also great and
very good singer.
Very similar, but look, I think the same way as you do, Roman, when it comes to the live show, having a little bit of the quirkiness of the moment or the uniqueness of the performers. I don't want a replacement for Steve Perry. I want somebody who can play the songs plus. Do the next stuff.
Yeah.
The same happens with this Duval guy.
Yeah.
He's capable of singing Alice in Chains correctly, better from a technical standpoint, okay? Because he's a trained singer.
Yeah.
And he pulls them off, no issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
Plus the new stuff, which is fantastic as well. You heard some of them.
Yeah, it's very good.
Very good. And it's still Alice in Chains.
But look, I feel that, for instance, the whole notion of replacing musicians and even singers, I think, is the most emblematic of them all. I think it's more about taking someone that captures the essence of the band. Yeah, and I know it's a little bit more abstract, but rather than someone that sings similarly. Yeah, it's not necessarily about having a similar voice.
I get you.
Because maybe you can have someone. Because look, even the
wait. We should use this for next week. Because that's a full-on conversation.
Yeah, we can have a conversation.
Because it's a very... I kind of see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
You're opening a new kind of one. Let's save that one for next week, because that's actually a good point. Okay. Because it comes to mind what they did with Linkin Park. Super, yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know, they replaced Chester... It was
Queen.
Queen.
We need to point out to Queen.
Whatever the guy is. Whatever. Okay, but here is giving us a good point, a good phrase to finish this conversation off. Says, I think backing tracks are good and bad. It depends what you're using it for.
100%. Yeah.
Totally, because one side of the camp is claiming that they are devoid of sin. They are perfect because they give you the total representation of the artist's vision that they managed to produce in the studio, but now they're able to pull it off live. While the other camp, of course, that's clearly astroturfed, and the same could be said about the recital. He's cheating just because I say so, because you should be playing everything. And there is a balance, because both arguments are correct. The thing is that when we simply go far, wherever, we cannot find the actual common ground that allows for this to be used, because both arguments have a point. The thing is that morality and the ethical use of the technique and the technology is what is never discussed.
Yeah, agreed.
And this is the conclusion that I get out of this. What do you think?
I can agree with that 100%. I think it truly goes on as a musician responsibility to consider and respect the audience, because I do think that the core issue of this morality aspect that we have been talking about comes from respecting the expectations of the audience from both sides, both from the integrity of the music, delivering the music as faithful to the experience that the audience is expecting,
Yes.
and delivering the performance that the audience paid to see.
Yeah.
So is that's the balancing act, and at times that's kind of tricky to actually find the proper balance, but it always can be done.
Yeah.
And I think that if the musician always considers how do I deliver the best for my audience, he probably wouldn't fail into this into using backing tracks incorrectly.
Yeah.
Because he's putting the audience first.
Yeah, and I can see why the bad blood in regards to the use of backing tracks developed.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of not necessarily ethical moves being done by high-profile individuals
Yeah.
have given this whole concept a terrible name.
Yeah.
And I think it's up to modern bands to take advantage of this in a way that enhances
Mm-hmm.
the live shows, because something like this, pulling off live backing tracks correctly, a multi-track backing tracks. What I mean by that is having let's say you got the orchestra in one channel, some crazy ass synthesizer that was produced on a modular system that cannot be replicated on the stage, and all of them are playing together. And let's say a huge choir that, even though you got some backing singers, you use that as a reinforcement, similar to what you do with the samples on the drums. Having them multi-output and allows you to mix them as if they were instruments on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
giving you an even better sounding live mix.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely affordable today.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, for example, for us to run the show, we're actually using software that is used by us when performing live.
Mhm.
It's called Main Stage. It's a very affordable piece of software that does all this. It's insane. It's off screen, of course, but we're using it right now, and it has plenty of features. And one of them is actually allowing you to have a mix,
Mm-hmm.
and even taking advantage of audio interface, and use the outputs of the interface as individual outputs that could be feeding the live show.
Mm-hmm.
It's affordable, accessible, and it's easy to use.
Yeah.
And it also allows you to play tracks, the backing tracks, click track and everything, synchronization. Another thing that we didn't mention, synchronization through backing tracks also allows for great live shows.
Mm.
Great.
Not only lights, but anything production.
The entire
or-
thing.
Yeah.
So that's also something that is never discussed,
Mm-hmm.
or is easily ignored because wait, you like your shows badass, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they coordinate everything? No, you don't have the pyro guy is not where, yeah, I'm gonna be doing this, I'm gonna be like, yes, I'm improvising. No, man, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So of course not.
Yeah.
Everything's programmed,
Yeah.
and everything is synchronized to a world clock. That's actually the name.
Mm-hmm.
And that clock is synchronizing everything through the miracle of MIDI.
Mm-hmm.
So that includes lights, the core of the lights, the motion of the servo heads, the smoke machines, the fire breathing dragon you got in the backdrop, all of the stuff. I'm thinking of
The dragon all the
I'm
time.
thinking of Dio.
Yeah.
Remember that show? That was,
Yeah.
and there was, of course, I didn't see it, but it was fun.
Yeah, awesome.
All of that is synchronized
Mm-hmm.
and giving you way better experiences.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that if you go the DJ route, in which everything's synchronized to perfection,
Yeah.
well, you can imagine that the DJ has little chances for improvisation in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give more details because I might get... do the math! Get me? So yeah, so it's more than this. The ethical aspect of it, I think, was plenty
We covered plenty.
covered correctly, and I think we find not necessarily a definite solution to the problem or the conundrum, but we could find common ground.
Look, I'm gonna offer one last comment. Just the address. Last.
Just you're saying technology is there to make it easier and better for a musician. The audience only concern is their ears. Oh yeah, take care of them. So who cares what you? Good point, just yeah. Because in the end, what matters is great music,
Mm-hmm.
great music and awesome shows.
Yeah.
Ethically speaking, that's on the musicians' own discretion
Mm-hmm.
to know when to abuse.
And when not to.
Yes, and as an audience member, we have to put our trust into their own morality.
Look, now my final comment is gonna be regarding the audience because
Day out.
and I don't mean I'm gonna try not to be condescending, but people at times they don't know what they want. And what I mean by this is the following. The same guy that's gonna complain about a band using clicks or backing tracks will be the guy that thinks that the show was underwhelming because the songs didn't sound exactly like the record.
Okay.
So,
What do you want?
exactly. So, also you need to be taking into account that a lot of the criticism is kind of gratuitous at times.
At times it is.
At times, of course. Ronan actually gave us plenty of
argument.
reasons why the criticism is well deserved.
Yes.
But it's not always deserved.
No, because how many Romans do we got?
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Exactly. So just don't be that guy
Yes.
that's gonna at the same time criticize a band for using backing tracks, but also criticize the band because they didn't sound like they would in the album.
Yeah.
So just don't be that guy.
Yeah, because how can they sound like the album if they are not using backing tracks?
Yeah. So.
Agreed. Hashtag not all, because
Of course.
if the White Stripes dare to use backing tracks,
Yeah.
them, okay? Or the Ramones.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, there are bands that do it.
Yeah.
That's already cheating. So on that note, thanks so much.
So it was great having you here, girls and boys. Has been a fun conversation, an interesting conversation, I hope as well. We do this on a weekly basis every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central. We are here having conversations that pertain everything related to the music industry and how sucky music is nowadays,
Yeah, it terribly sucks.
and what we can do as musicians and as people, as music enthusiasts, to change it.
And
to
next
do
week we
something
were
about it.
going to be talking about the whole thing with singers.
Yeah.
Which I think is a
Not only
great
singers, any
replacement, controversial replacement.
Yes. So
Can
yeah.
they pull it off? Can they truly encapsulate or revive or keep the life, keep the living essence of the band
Yeah, the
present,
soul.
the soul still
Yeah.
be part of the band, even though you removed what made them Alice in Chains?
Oh, I guess you're gonna have to tune in last week to find
Yeah,
out.
because I don't know.
They're also commercial.
I have plenty of many things to say about that because I'm on both ends in that one.
Yeah. Well, isn't
We got good and bad examples of being poorly or greatly implemented.
100%.
Will
Sometimes
we?
it can get better.
Sometimes, yeah. Looking at
It has happened.
yes.
We're gonna give examples next week.
Yeah, of course. So we're not going to explain the events. Okay, so thanks for joining, thanks for watching, and as usual, as every single time that we meet you, we gotta remind you that you should never let anybody tell you what to do about. And thank you for you guys for being part of the show.
Yes.
We'll see you when we see you.